Is tormenting people fun for you? I shouted. We could both die in here. Blackness now stained the burning walls, and a flaming beam of wood fell in slow motion from the ceiling, barely missing me as I stepped out of the way. I imagined the cracks and pops one would expect in such an inferno, but the scene remained eerily quiet. It didn't seem possible that the fire could have spread so quickly. I hadn't smelled any chemical accelerant when I had come in. Flames silhouetted my tormentor behind gray haze and waves of heat, but his glowing eyes pierced the smoke. I covered my nose and mouth with my shirt, but then realized there was no smell of smoke. The demon stopped laughing for a moment. All at once, pungent smoke filled my nose and stung my eyes. My lungs seized and I coughed. No matter which exit I tried, the demon would be there, waiting for me. I only had one chance. I charged for the front door and the demonic man in my way. I might fail to push through him, but if I didn't try, I was sure to die in this house. The monster raised his hand in surprise and pointed the spider ring. I closed my eyes and smacked hard against the front door. Without looking back, I flung the door open and stumbled out into the dark, panting and coughing. A cool breeze chilled my sweaty skin. I turned my head to see the house intact. The front door opened into a dark living room, just as it had been when I arrived. The demon was gone, as though it had all been some kind of waking nightmare. I let out one last cough, realizing there was no smoke or soot in my lungs. The smoke hadn't felt real until I noticed it didn't smell. But then, it became more intense than any smoke I'd ever experienced. I pulled the door shut and found my hands still shaking. Had it all been in my head? I backed away from the house and made my way across the street. Before unlocking the car, I looked back at the McGinnis house again, as though I expected it to be different than before. I was about to drive away when the cop pulled up. He was in one of the new Dodge Chargers the city had just purchased. A black nudge bar made the white bumper look like teeth as the car growled to a stop behind me. I closed my eyes and breathed slowly. I'm a professional, I said to myself. Deep, regular breaths. My face still glistened with sweat when I got out of the car and extended my hand, but he didn't take it. You the one that found her? He asked. My mind pulled back to Abby Duncan. Yep, I'm afraid so. With all the strangeness, I'd almost forgotten about the poor woman. You her son or something? The cop asked. No, I said. I'm Jack Mahler, a PI working a case, and she called to give me some information. The wind shifted, and I got a whiff of the cop's aftershave, the same cheap scent that hovered around Mrs. Duncan's body. It didn't necessarily mean anything. Thousands of men wore that scent. I walked him around the house to the open back door. When she didn't answer the door, I became suspicious. I saw her walk her through the window and called to her, but she didn't answer. Was this door open when you arrived? He asked. Yes. He shot me a glance that told me he knew I was lying. The only way he could know that is if he'd been there earlier that night. I scanned the name on his uniform. Officer S. Decker, I said. Yeah? I recognize your name from the accident report for Mrs. McGinnis from across the street. You were the first officer on the scene. Decker made his way inside and looked down at the dead woman. Yeah, so? I'm doing a routine investigation for her life insurance policy. His face jerked up. I didn't know she had a life insurance policy. Is there any reason you would know that? Nope. He looked back to Abigail on the floor. Well, looks like she's dead. Coroner's on his way. He glared at me. I'll see you around, Jack. The way he said it chilled me to the marrow. Sure, see you around. I sat in my car and stared at the peaceful suburban street in front of me. If Officer Decker had killed Abby Duncan, the only possible reason was that Stevie had seen her talking to me. This was supposed to be an easy case. Now there were scientific secrets, a ghost, and a rogue cop. The phantasm in that burning house didn't scare me half as much as Officer Decker. Why can't anything be simple?